Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good wherever you are. We hope you're all being safe. My name is Chris Wolkler, and I want to take a moment and reach out to my commercial and residential investors, landlords, along with members of the Wisconsin Apartment Association regarding the latest emergency orders from Governor Evers regarding evictions that I'm sure you've heard about in the news. Again, my name is Chris Wolkler. I am a commercial real estate agent for Keller Williams. I'm also the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Wisconsin Apartment Association, and I'm the Chairman of the Covid-19 Task Force for the Wisconsin Apartment Association. About 2 weeks ago, Wisconsin Apartment Association Chairman Karina Euthinger appointed this task force so that we could work with state legislatures and our members to keep them informed of what's going on with this crisis. We want to make sure that the rental industry is well represented in these different times regarding the governor's orders and along with any new potential legislation that comes about because of it. We also want to keep you informed with the latest and best news, not all the rumors that are going around, so that you can keep abreast of what's going on. We'll try to keep this video short. We can't take questions. This is not a live video or a webinar, but you can submit questions through the Wisconsin Apartment Association legal hotline, which you can access via the website at waaonline.org. It's available to all members. If you're not a member, you should be a member. $65 to be a member for a year. And we encourage you to join up. There are many local apartment associations throughout the state. We'll help you geared up with them. They have a separate cost to join them, but they have monthly meetings. There's different education and all that. The discussion today surrounds Governor Evers' Emergency Order 15. And I need to note that I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. I've been doing this a long time. I am one of the registered lobbyists down in Madison for the Apartment Association. But if you have a legal question, you need to see your attorney. This is meant to be informational so that you're aware of these things. So on to the order. But we should have a discussion first. Let's be realistic. We're in a crisis. How bad it is or how not bad it is, we won't know for a while until we can Monday morning quarterback months or years down the road. But right now it's a crisis. The governor did what he thought best to keep people in their homes, to keep the spread of the disease as low as possible. And as much as none of us like this situation of not having that availability to evict somebody if they don't follow through with their contract, it's probably a necessary situation right now. We are encouraging residential and commercial landlords to break down any barriers, of landlord tenants, and get out there and talk with your customers, talk with your tenants, and make sure they're doing okay. Make sure your elderly tenants have groceries. Make sure your younger tenants, get their questions answered. Residential tenants, if they're having trouble, get them in touch with an appropriate service agency. Make sure they're getting unemployment insurance if they're unemployed. Commercial tenants, be talking to them. Some of them are essential, some of them are not. And you need to know what's going on. And throughout this discussion, you will learn if they're able to pay their rent or not. Asking or demanding that they pay their rent is probably not the best right now. So time for all of us to work together. To tenants, nothing in the governor's order says you don't have to pay your rent. If you don't pay your rent, a couple of things could happen. You could be evicted down the road. You could get a judgment against you. You could cause rent to be increased because costs increase. If you can pay your rent, you need to, because if a landlord can't keep the place, you're not going to be able to stay there. So that's important. It's also important to note that the governor specifically says in his order, no provision in this order should be construed as relieving an individual of their obligation to pay rent. So that's an important thing to note. But effective March 27th, getting down to the meat of it, March 27th of 2020, a landlord, whether it's commercial or residential, cannot serve notices regarding rent, like a 5-day quit or pay notice, commence an eviction, file it with the courts. I know you can still do it electronically, but you cannot do that. deliver a writ of restitution or a writ, an eviction. So basically, to try to tell somebody they have to get out of their place. The object here is to keep people in their homes and keep the spread of this virus down. There are some exemptions. There's one exemption: immediate threat of serious physical harm to a person. It's going to have to be documented, probably an affidavit, as to what the situation is. But again, the governor is doing this to protect the public. Basically, I cannot say it strong enough, and we've been saying it from the beginning. Find a way to work it out with your tenant. Find a way to get what rent you can. Be creative on the solution. When this order is lifted, there's going to be a mad dash to the courthouse by some people. There's going to be all those cases that were filed before March 27th that are going to have to be dealt with, that were put off by small claims courts as they closed. And then there's going to be new filings. So if you're in the mix, it could be months before you get a solution to this, and you may not like the solution, because an eviction is not a guarantee of getting paid. We are encouraging everybody to find a way to work this out. Landlords and tenants should work together. We've gotten a few questions that I'd like to answer that we've answered on the Facebook site. Facebook is the best way for us to get this information out the quickest. So if you're not on Facebook, please find somebody that is. Some of those questions would be, what would if a tenant had given a notice to be out by the end of April and they're not? They still owe you rent for the month of April now because they didn't move. So per 70425 of state statute, that all still applies. Another question regarding double damages: when does it start per 70427? Usually it starts at when a notice expires, like on a 5-day notice. A tenant didn't pay the rent or didn't move out, they are then subject to double damages on a per daily basis or greater if you can prove it. Basically, right now we don't know the answer to that question. Some attorneys are saying you're still going to get your double damages, some are not. But right now it's the best to try to work out these solutions so you don't get in this situation. It should be noted that the governor's order lasts for 60 days. So he has proposed, it can be extended with help of the legislature, but he has proposed legislation. It's not in the form of a bill yet. It's still in drafting. But basically he wants the power to be able to keep these no eviction orders, along with a whole bunch of other things that don't all apply to us, in effect for an additional 45 days. We're watching this closely. We're in communication with the governor. We don't necessarily like this. If this is a crisis, the governor and the legislature perhaps should work together to extend it if need be. But we don't think the governor should just have necessarily blanket power to extend this. So we'll be working on this and trying to come up with a solution with the governor. The governor has been open to discussions. Other questions, business interruption coverage that you may have on your insurance. It is our understanding that this is probably not likely to kick in most cases, but every policy is different. You're going to have to check your policy and check with your agent. Karina Euthinger, chairman of Wisconsin Apartment Association, has done several Facebook Live videos answering some of these questions about showing units. Unoccupied units that are empty, get there early, turn on the lights, step outside and let the person go through it. Keeping your social distancing, put the application on the counter and keep your distance. Keep them safe, keep you safe. Occupied units, the governor has said in his order that you should avoid going into an occupied unit. Perhaps now is a time to video that unit. Perhaps go in there when the tenant is not home. Arrange a time with them. Work something out. Use common sense. You might lose some rent that you're not able to rent those units as part of this whole situation. That may be what happens. There's just not good answers to help protect you and help protect them. Keep your employees safe, your maintenance staff, yourself. Work from home, or have them work from home where they can. When it comes to doing maintenance, whether it's by you or by your staff, that drippy faucet, loose door handle, broken light, or burned out bulb, whatever the case may be, That doesn't need to be fixed right now. That can wait till the crisis is over. We're still in cold enough temperatures that we have to maintain heat, so if a furnace goes down, that still has to be repaired. Be smart about it. Ask your tenants to go upstairs, stay upstairs, or maybe come in while they're gone. Wear gloves, follow the CDC guidelines, and do what has to be done. But you want to limit your contact with people to avoid your exposure or their exposure to you. Keep track of those maintenance items so you can fix them later, obviously. Communicate with your lender about what's going on. You may not be in trouble for April, but maybe you are for me. There is a moratorium on foreclosures and filing of foreclosures, but eventually solutions are going to have to be worked out. No matter if it's with your lender or with your tenant, keep in touch, communicate. There's many free services that you can do online, webinars, video chats, whatever. There's phone calls, there's email. We're suggesting that everybody keep in touch and let's work together as a community to resolve this crisis, and we'll all be better for it. I want to thank you. If you have any questions, please shoot us an email and we'll get you the answers as fast as we can. Thank you.